This is the Grumman F11F-1 Tiger, and it is the second and final aviation prize for Operation S.U.M.M.E.R 2020. The Tiger first flew in 1954 and entered service with the United States Navy in 1956. The type then saw a fairly limited service life, leaving active service in 1961. However, the Tiger did remain in use as a training aircraft until 1967 and as part of the Blue Angels display team until 1969. Only 200 of this type were produced, with an upgrade program producing the F11F-1F Super Tiger, which in 1957 became the first naval aircraft to surpass twice the speed of sound. Although despite its impressive performance for the time, this upgraded version of the Tiger was never adopted into service. In War Thunder, the F-11 is placed at Tier 6 BR 9.0 and is classed as a naval jet fighter. The main armament of the F-11 is a set of 4 20mm Colt Mark 12 cannons. These are similar to the guns used on other naval jets such as the FJ-4B and the A-4 Skyhawk. The 125 rounds per gun can be spent pretty quickly with the 1000 round per minute fire rate of these guns, but they do seem to be able to easily damage enemy aircraft and also seem to work quite well in head-ons, so a few kills is easily doable with those 125 rounds. Once you research the offensive 20mm belt modification at Tier 1, you will be able to gain access to 4 additional belt types alongside the standard default belts. These include Universal, Air Targets, Ground Targets, and Stealth. The Tiger's air-to-air weapons do not just stop at its guns, as it also has access to the AIM-9B Sidewinder. This is a Tier 3 modification placed after the unguided rockets, and up to 4 of these can be carried on the pylons under the wings. The AIM-9B is probably one of the more common air-to-air missiles in War Thunder, with a 10G max overload and a range of 6.21 miles. This missile can come in handy against an enemy aircraft that is stall climbing or flying in a relatively straight line, although as soon as the enemy turns, the missile tends to just give up. It's also worth keeping in mind that firing the missile at a slightly bad angle can cause the missile just to fly away from the target, so it is ideal to put the missile on a fairly straight course towards the target. The capabilities of the F-11 are increased by its air-to-ground ordnance options. Mighty Mouse unguided rockets can be mounted on the underwing pylons in various configurations, with up to 52 of these being carried, as well as 1,000 pound and 500 pound bombs also being available for the aircraft. Some of these configurations also allow for the ground attack ordnance to be alongside a pair of AIM-9B Sidewinder missiles, which will also help to maintain some additional air-to-air capability. Moving over to flight performance, firstly the F-11 is pretty quick for a 9.0, being able to go supersonic in level flight at altitude thanks to its afterburning J65 engine. It also has good acceleration and a good climb rate, meaning that it can usually get into a better position than most of its other 9.0 counterparts at the start of games. On the other hand though, it does compress quite a bit when it gets into higher combat speeds, and generally does not have stellar maneuverability, so if an enemy sees you coming and they decide to evade, it might become tricky to get guns on target. The F-11 also only has landing flaps, so the lack of a combat setting means that the flaps and slats will be no help until you are at much lower speeds. Personally, I found keeping your speed up and going for either head-ons or just boom and zoom attacks on distracted enemy aircraft was the best thing to do. A few other things of note. Firstly, the F-11 has a fully detailed cockpit, which is always a nice feature, especially for those players that wish to use the vehicle in simulator battles. The Tiger will also get a secondary skin during the S.U.M.M.E.R 2020 event. This scheme represents the aircraft in its Blue Angels service. Of course, being a naval aircraft as well, the aircraft is equipped with an arrestor hook, which will allow it to land on aircraft carriers. So with that overview more or less complete, let's move over and take a look at some gameplay in AIR-B. So into our first game. This was actually my third game overall in the F-11, still sort of getting used to the guns and just how to fly the aircraft during this match, although being the third game I at least had a rough idea of what I should be doing. First attempt to destroy an enemy, AIM-9B on a Swift F1. He turns a little bit, but I don't think he spotted the missile, so it was able to actually continue tracking the target and get that kill. Moving in towards an FJ-4B, but then I decide to instead go for the Valtor. It's a bigger aircraft, a bit less maneuverable than the FJ-4B, so I figured it would be an easier target. Try out with the guns, and I set him on fire, and then I blow his wing off. and that is my second kill. One attack run, diving into the group of enemies, and I came out with 2 kills. I then take the opportunity to extend away. As said, it's not a maneuverable aircraft. Trying to turn back in towards the enemy when you're quite close to them would have been a mistake. That would have been a bad idea and would have probably led to me dying pretty quickly. So I extend away as far as I can with a G91 roughly following me, and once I feel I have enough distance to make a turn, I turn the aircraft around and begin to head back. That G91 looks to be coming towards me, so we both commit to a head-on. I fire some shots, all of which miss. I dodge out, his shots miss me, and, you know, nothing really came of that head-on. Another G91 is chasing a friendly S.U.M.M.E.R. Again, I go in, my shots miss, nothing comes of that, and it's just some wasted ammunition. But then continuing on, we have an FJ4B coming into a head-on, fire some shots, get out the way, critical hit, and that will very shortly yield a kill for me. Messerschmitt 262, I go up towards him, trying to get a missile lock. I really want to use these missiles a bit more. I get a lock, I fire the missile, but it's not going to do that. That was really just a dumb missile fire attempt from me. That kind of turn is not something the AIM-9B can do. I basically just wasted the missile, so that was my bad. G91 chasing me, I extend away, he gets killed by a friendly, and then it's just a case of killing the last few enemies, most of whom are now basically at the enemy airfield. Tu-14 decides to go vertical and try and shoot down a friendly fighter. Going vertical in a Tu-14, not the smartest move, and basically just makes easy killings for my 20mm cannons, giving me my 4th and final kill of this game. This was the first game that I did where I got more than 1 kill. My first game I got a single kill, didn't die. Second game I got no kills because my entire team got wiped out, and then I got just killed pretty quickly, which was annoying. But then I got this game, 4 kills, 1 missile kill and a few gun kills. Generally a good game. So into our second game, this time we are going without the AIM-9Bs. Of course, it's worth keeping in mind this is not a premium vehicle, it's just a standard event vehicle, and that means you will of course need to research the modifications for the flight performance upgrades and the various weapons. And in the case of the AIM-9Bs, they're a tier 3 modification after the unguided rockets, so it will at least take you a few games to unlock those missiles. So in this case I've gone with only the guns, no missiles, although I do still have the flight performance modifications installed on the aircraft. So, guns only, we're going to start off by going for a Tu-4. He already killed a Canberra that tried to attack him, and then he completely destroys a J-29. Getting a little bit worried at this point, but I still charge in, set him on fire, dodge out, and then it's just a case of extending away as quickly as possible to prevent being killed. And that fire quickly burns through his wing and takes him down. First kill, Tu-4 down. That's good. A few enemy fighters nearby, MiG-17AS, a G-91 behind, so I make the decision again, like I did in the previous game, not to try and turn too close to the enemy and to at least extend a little bit, get some range, so I can come back in for a more sensible attack run. And while I was extending away, 2 enemy fighter aircraft appeared to have taken an interest in me. First one to come along, LA-174, both commit to the head-on, and before he can even fire his guns, my rounds go in and just completely shred his aircraft, giving me my second kill. G91 then seems to attempt to fly parallel to me, so I slightly move out to get a bit more distance between us, and I go into a shallow climb. And then pretty quickly I feel I have enough range to turn in for an attack. He notices what I'm doing, and again we both commit to a head-on, and again I completely shred his aircraft before he can hit me. MiG-17's doing the same, we go in, and I knock his wing off, and he's then just into sort of a spin. A friendly F9F does go in for the MiG, but I think he notices that he's spinning, and props to this guy because he doesn't get a kill. He doesn't kill steal. I don't think that guy got any kills in this game, and twice I saw him go towards an enemy aircraft that was spinning and then pull out without attacking them. So props to that guy. Good stuff. Shortly after that though, there's only a few enemy aircraft left, and I was going to land on the carriers when a bot MiG-15 decided to attack me. I mean, it doesn't exactly seem like great gameplay when you're trying to land at one of your bases about as far as you can get from the enemy airfield and you get attacked by a bot aircraft. Not exactly fun. And the more annoying bit is even when I flew to the friendly airfield, the MiG still followed me. It would be really nice if these bots could maybe have limits that tells them to, you know, not camp airfields. That would be really nice. But nonetheless, after running away from a MiG and not being able to do anything else because of that, the game ends 4 kills, first on the team, demonstrating that really, even without the AIM-9s, obviously the AIM-9s aren't necessarily the best missiles, the AIM-9Bs, but even without them, you can get perfectly fine results, and grinding to the AIM-9s shouldn't be that difficult, especially since even without the performance modifications, I would assume this thing does have a speed advantage at least over the other 9.0 aircraft in the game. Now, I'm not exactly a common jet player. I really don't play jet battles that much because I'm not that good at jets, but I got this thing on a test drive, I took it out for some games, and it actually went better than I was expecting. Really, the speed is the main advantage of the aircraft. As mentioned, the maneuverability, not that good whatsoever, and it seems to compress quite a bit when you're at higher speeds. So doing what I was doing in those games, attacking the enemy, fast run through the enemy aircraft or past a specific target, extending away, and then when you have a reasonable amount of range between you and the enemy, turning around, doing the same again, that seems to work quite well. The speed's really nice. And another good thing is occasionally, I'm sure everyone's experienced this, you'll get a game where the last enemy is a bomber of some description who is just in space. The climb rate of this thing's really nice, just over 70 meters per second, and in the last game we did actually, there was an enemy TU-4, there was another content creator who had their F-11, and they just went from the airfield, climbed up to that TU-4, shot him down, not a problem. So that's another great thing about this aircraft that's quite nice. Having the missiles is nice. The AIM-9B is not the best version of the Sidewinder, but it is certainly usable and can come in handy from time to time. Overall, I would say this is a pretty solid event vehicle. The Blue Angel skin is certainly something very nice. I did receive that skin just as I was actually editing and recording the commentary for this video, so I will make sure to drop that skin in a few cinematic clips in the background, so you probably saw that while watching the video. Nonetheless though, good vehicle. I will be finishing getting it once I get my 10th aviation star in about a week's time. Nonetheless though, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy the video and found it informative and all that. If you did, please consider dropping a like. If you want to see more content like this on a few of the other reward vehicles for this event, or general War Thunder content in the future, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.